Sure, as always, appreciate you guys joining us. Tremendous opportunity in front of us this week as we welcome Michigan. Coach Moore and his team here to the Shell this Saturday. As I told our players yesterday, the next 2 weeks we're in what I call a play-on situation where for us to play on, this first game is a really important game because it gives us a chance to extend our season. And so to extend our season into December, which is a needed opportunity for a team like ours. We need everyone on our roster to play for the guys next to them. We got a senior group that I have a lot of respect for that made the decision to come here. Some of them 5 years ago, like Ethan Goff. Some of them 4 years ago, but like Punch and Octavian. And these guys have poured their hearts out for the Maryland football program through good and bad. And I also want to acknowledge a few other things that are going on Saturday. Obviously, it's a military appreciation game, which is something that's big for us around in this area. The impact that the military has had in this area. As someone who's worked at military academies, it's something that's really important, especially knowing and seeing the guys that I had a chance to coach that are now out leading our military. I think Sean Merriman and A.J. Francis, two guys I had the opportunity to coach, are doing their give-backs this weekend. I think Sean, who's done his coat drive, and to know Sean's story, which I do because I recruited him here, and know about the fire and how he was unable to, the house caught on fire because they didn't have heat. And the coat drive is something that he's done a long time around here. And then A.J. obviously with the community food drive that he has done here for the last few years shows the impact that these guys feel that this program has had on them, for them to come and repeatedly give back the way they have. And then obviously the senior recognition, which for me is always really important, because I do what I do because of these kids. And it's a bit smaller group this year because of the landscape we're in. But some of these guys have meant so much to me, to this program, to this community. And I'm really excited to be able to honor them and honor them hopefully by playing winning football. Our game captains this week, Ethan Goff, Shalik Punch Knotts, and Octavian Smith will represent us. And with that, I'll open up to whatever questions you have.
Question, we'll start with Gene on your left.
Hey, Mike, just your reaction when your athletic director not only gives an endorsement about your future, but says additional resources are on the way too.
Well, I figured that would be probably the first question. I'll say this, from the day that Diana and Jim got here, the day Jim and Diana got here, however you want to place it, both those guys have played a huge role in hip to hip with me. There was a time from December 1st up through the hire and the buzz, our basketball coach, that there weren't a lot of people that understood the landscape. And when they got here, I can remember the first meeting I had with them, we presented a plan. And for them to see the plan and understand, and then they've had a chance now to watch what we've done. Obviously, no one, including myself, is happy with where we are when you talk about the map and the terrain. But from the day they got here, they've supported every part of it, and they understand what winning looks like. I mean, Jim coming off of winning a baseball championship with the Braves, Diana and her time at Ohio State obviously understand what it takes, and winning has a cost. Very rarely do you see me stand up here in front of you guys and complain about whether the resources were enough or not enough, because I'm always going to make do with what I have, and that's what we've done. We've given it our best. But to have two people now that are going to stand with me hip to hip, give me the resources I need to build this program. I've had a total commitment to this area for a long time. I was asked last week why. I spent 37 years in this business doing what I do, and AJ and Sean are a reflection of it. I spent 17 seasons on this campus. Not very many people know the ins and outs of this campus like I have. And to have two people now that share the same special vision that I have, while also seeing the foundation of what we have when we didn't have all the resources that we needed, I'm excited. I see a light at the end of the tunnel. So really glad about the support, opportunity to stay here, committed to an area that I believe in because I'm from here.
How much does that commitment now allow you just to focus all on the on-field stuff and not the distractions that they come with?
It's always been about the kids for me. I mean, the only time it bothers me is when it bothers them. And I can't protect them from social media. I can't protect them from the things that are being said about the program. But anybody that walks through Jones Hill House knows, one, there ain't a coach in college that feels safe Safe ain't a word that's in my vocabulary. I've never felt safe in my life. All right? I've always been committed, and that's the word that's in my vocabulary. I've been committed to the DMV area. I've been committed to football here on this campus. I've been committed to doing good work with kids and this community, and that's what I'm going to do.
Front row, Michael.
Hey, Coach. Jim Smith said in his letter that, like Gene said, there's going to be significant amount of resources coming into this program, not only next year but beyond. So I just want to ask, can you expand on that to where?
I'm not going to do that now. That's for Jim to talk about, Michael. Good question. I don't get up here and talk about what we have and don't have. I've told you, we've been resourced to go to bowl games. But winning has a cost, and if you want to win big, obviously there's examples all throughout the country of commitments that have been made. Not saying that I haven't had enough resources, because what's enough? I know this. The only question I've ever asked was, put me in the middle. When you asked me what I need, I said, put me in the middle. And if you put me in the middle, I think if you look at the type of roster we've put together over the years, don't always have the depth, don't always have the ability with the injuries that we face but with the added resources, I think you'll see those things.
Why hasn't that investment level matching occurred already here in College Park and when David was 80 here?
It's not for me to discuss. That's above my pay grade to discuss. I know what I've been given from the time I got here. I know what I walked into. I've always chose hard. I had a cushy job down in Tuscaloosa, but I like this place. I love this place, and it was important for me to come back and do my part to help put a foundation together that allows Maryland football to have a chance to compete at the highest level.
And then off-topic question, I'm working on a story about us here in Sydney's Bond through their faith, and I want to ask you, whether it's Christian, Muslim, how do you see faith kind of shaping your players' daily routines and habits in the locker room?
That's a good question, because I don't know if you know, I have had a tremendous transformation in how I've handled things, and a lot of it is because of my faith. And with my Christian faith that I have respect for all faiths. We build the whole character of a kid. We want them to be the best academics, the best football, and the best person, and faith plays a big role in that, and it's a big part of my program.
Your left, Dean.
Hi, Coach. Now that you kind of got that reassurance and doubling down from this staff here, has that trickled down to the locker room and you guys are able to focus and keep that noise out and focus on these next two couple of years?
I think the best thing is, so I've always messaged honestly, authentically, contrary to what some people think. I don't believe in getting up here and BSing y'all. I kind of tell you how I feel, and I message through my leadership council. I have a group of kids on my team or players on my team that represent the demographics of our team. And we had a meeting on Sunday, and I knew that meeting was happening before the game on Saturday. I met with Jim. We meet weekly. Diana's at most of the practices, so they see firsthand the work that we're doing behind the scenes that you guys aren't always privy to. And I think because of that, they have an understanding that what the future looks like, and they also know, they get to see the background of the resources and what we have and haven't had. I don't get up here and complain about resources. I just know this winning has a cost, and they understand that. I've presented a plan for what it takes to win here at Maryland, and they're behind me and behind that plan.
On your right, Dave.
Like Michigan's ground game second best in the Big Ten, despite whoever they've got back. There are multiple injuries to their backs this season. What makes that ground game so special?
It's up front. Their head coach is a former O-line guy. He's their run first team now. They're the coordinator, Chip Lindsey, who I've known Chip a long time. He spent time at Notre Dame and was at Georgia Tech with Brent Key, who I work with. And so they add a huge RPO element with Chip to the run game. That they've already been one of those teams that likes to establish the run, and because of the philosophy of their head coach. There's no doubt they got talented backs, but the guys up front are the guys that really make them go. And if you look at the way those receivers block the perimeter, I think that shows you the character of this team.
And one of the things you guys have been able to do really well offensively this year, keep the league upright. They've got a guy, Derek Moore, I think 9.5 sacks. What makes him such a special challenge for you guys?
Yeah, Derek is one of those players from right up the road there, St. Francis. I played for Coach Poggi, who I know very well. My son played for Biff over at Gilman. And so Derek Moore is one of those talented guys, a lot like 17, a lot like a bunch of the guys we faced in this league. Every league has one. On the other side of them, you have a former Terp, Jay-Sean Barham, who plays linebacker, but also they walk him down to the boundary as a DN. And they will be a tremendous challenge for our tackles. Both Rotrell and Allen have done a tremendous job from a fundamental standpoint of protecting our quarterback. And so they'll have that challenge this week against two talented pass rushers that we know a lot about.
On your left, Brady.
Hey, Coach, heading back to the senior class, how have you seen, an unselfishness from them this year and, the preparation for building the next future of Terrapin?
There's one play that jumped out to me last week that kind of showed you when I talk about this team. The goal line stand, 14 was chasing from behind, completed the ball, contact at the 1 inch line, and then I saw 22 come in and finish, and I saw a bunch of guys running in and finishing. Our defense has stood tall for all year long, as they have had to, because they have a little brother playing quarterback that's learning as he goes and is tremendous, tremendous talent, and will be a really talented player around here for a long, long time. But it's plays like that that don't get talked about because the outcome obviously was the score. But those are the little things as a coach. When you show that to your team and you're able to show that type of finish in a game that, we weren't necessarily in it at that point, I think that talks the volume of what those seniors have brought. Because every day, Octavian, Shalik, Ethan Goff, these guys show up. Jalen Husky, who, was a transplant, came back home to help me. These guys are bought in.
Second row, George.
Hey, Mike.
George?
You have a highly talented freshman quarterback. You're facing another one in Bryce Underwood on the other side. What are the things that you've seen in scouting him that make him so dynamic? And do you see any similarities between him and Malik in his freshman year?
Yeah, it's funny because, Cam Newton had his quarterback camp here on campus a couple summers ago, and Bryce happened to be here. I know the guy that trains him really, really well up there in Michigan. That does a tremendous job. So he came down for that camp, and Malik happened to be here for that camp. And both those guys are super uber talented. And in this league, to have two young quarterbacks with futures like they both have, I think the thing that really makes Bryce go is not only the live arm, but his ability to extend plays with his feet. As a football player, as a quarterback, a guy that can hurt you both arms and legs. And so, he's learning as he goes as well. And for them to be 2 games, I think, out of possibly the college football playoffs, they got a lot to play for. They're putting a lot on him, like we've asked a lot of our freshman quarterback. The run game for them has really kind of helped him. And so we've got to figure out how to get our run game going this week. This will be a battle of 2 really young, talented quarterbacks that I think you'll see for years to come in this league.
And amid a similar situation last year, struggling with a losing streak, you took over play calling duty. Is that something that you considered at any point in this season during this streak?
I'm involved in the shaping of our game plan. Pep is calling it. I haven't called very many plays. I make really strong suggestions now, but all those types of things are, Pep is the offensive coordinator. I'm shaping it like I learned from Nick Saban, who sat in every defensive meeting at Alabama and shaped the game plan, and then makes my interjections throughout the course of the game when needed.
On your left, Chief.
Is this the status of Daniel and Zaire?
Beat up.
Availability?
Beat up. I mean, they're beat up, but you know what? I guarantee you they both will show up here Saturday to play. Zaire's been battling turf toe on a young player. If you've ever had it, to play defense and not be able to anchor and have a will. Daniel's been playing on a bad ankle the last couple of games, and he is trying his butt off because he knows we don't have a lot of depth behind him. And so what we're doing is trying to get him to the game Saturday. So we're being smart with how we utilize him this week. He's a veteran enough player now that a lot of the reps that he needs to take could be more mental at this point in the season. So I expect both those guys to be available.
On your right, second row.
Coach, Michigan's obviously been an elite program over the last few seasons, but they've also been a team that you guys have historically given them a run for their money. You've had some really close games against them. Are you taking anything from those previous games to maybe look at your team and say, hey, we did this against them these games, now we can take it over to this weekend, or is it just a new team, new slate?
It's a new team, new slate. The landscape we're in, this is where you're at. I mean, they got Wink Martindale as their D coordinator, who was the coordinator at the New York Giants. So nothing in how we played against them matters on that end. They've got Chip Lindsey as their offensive coordinator. There's nothing from last 2 games we played them that operate from how they played then to now. The head coach is similar, so there are some similarities there. But the landscape we're in, this is one of those, every year is going to be about this game. And usually for us, it's not really about our opponent, because if you go back and look at where we are, it's typically things that we can control or that we have to do better. And I understand that, and we'll continue to coach and work through it.
We keep to just one question, so I can try to get as many people as possible. We'll go to on your right, Noah.
You mentioned their running game a little bit. They've had some injuries in the backfield, but it still seems like year in, year out, their running game is very effective. Like, what is the challenge in stopping that? And I guess what do you see as sort of the key to the consistency that
Yeah, you know what? I thought last week we did a really good job through 3 quarters, and this is where the complementariness of how we got to play on offense to help our defense. Our defense played the run better last week because we had better players back. We had 57. I mean, I can't talk about Bryce Jenkins enough about the size he has, his power, his strength, and he hasn't played a lot. He's had some injuries. He's coming off the concussion, but to play the run, you got to have big bodies in this league. And up front, it doesn't matter who their running back is, because Michigan has a big front 5, and they've got some tight ends that do a really good job. For us to stop the run, and I think last week, they were about 120 yards of rushing going into the 4th quarter before they had a couple of the long plays at the end. It's about being gap sound, and it's about tackling. 2 weeks ago, we missed 22 tackles against Rutgers. Last week, we missed 4. Some of that's a byproduct of guys playing through injuries and not being able to finish. Some of it's young guys that are being thrust into roles where this year we haven't played a bunch of young players as backups like I have in the past, because, as I've always said, we're not a developmental program anymore. You know why? Because we have to win now. And we got 2 games left to play. We've got a game against Michigan here at home, a bunch of seniors that we owe to go out and finish and to have pride in how we finish playing here at home. And then these seniors also have a responsibility to figure out how to get a win to extend so that we could develop and this young team even more with the opportunity to play for a bowl.
The road, Taylor.
What would more investments and resources next year do for you, allow you to do that you currently cannot?
Well, there's nothing that those resources can do to help me right now, currently, because we're in this season. All the other stuff is stuff that at the end of the season, I think, as you sit with Jim, as you get with the people, I'm not here to give the playbook. I gave the plan of what it takes to compete for Big Ten championships. It has a cost. They're familiar with that because of the plan I presented. Obviously, with his statement, I think, all I can do is stand on the statement that he understands because he comes from it. Diana understands. They come from it. I've never sat up here and complained, bitched, or moaned about resources. All I say is winning has a cost. I am doing the best with what I have had. And it's been resourced enough to be a bowl eligible team. That part is on me. We're not bowl eligible, haven't been this last season, and we have opportunities to be now, and that's what my focus is on.
Just to clarify, you said you were told before the game Saturday what was announced Sunday?
No, I said I had a meeting on Friday where I understood that to set up things for Sunday for my guys to be able to communicate to them.
On your left, Noah.
Coach, last home game of the season, obviously the crowd voiced some displeasure in the previous game. Is there any sort of sense from you of trying to give a message to sort of rebuild trust or faith in the program following the last 2 years?
All I can tell you is anybody that knows me knows how committed I've been to Maryland football. For me to have to sit up here and explain to fans how much I want to win here, I think the people that understand and know. If you just look at how we've recruited here, players don't follow BS. They go where they think and know it's real. It's real here in this program, and now we have a vision, a plan, and now I have partners that will help me execute the plan that I've set for us to take the next level with this program.
Last one on your right, Jake.
Hey, Coach, just wanted to ask you about the timing of Jim's letter. How do you feel about when it was dropped? Would you have liked to see this earlier in the season?
It didn't bother me when it dropped, how it dropped. It needed to be said. At whatever point Jim felt comfortable to be able to say it. I mean, he's evaluated this program from the time he's gotten here. Super smart guy that from the day he got here, there's no doubt he understood the business of sport. but he also understands sports business, and then Diana and her expertise with being at places where they've had great success. And it's not that we didn't have that here before. I'm saying that they have partnered with the vision I have for what it would take, and they agree, and they've given me the time. It takes time and resources. They're giving me the time. Obviously, my contract allows that, and then they are committed to giving me the resources.
Just from your conversation with Jim, did he give a reason why now is the right time?
No, I didn't even ask because it wasn't important.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.